Good afternoon with everyone. Thank you very much for this invitation to be part of this international conference. I'm gonna share my screen now so I can start with this fast presentation on against the extinction of democracy. Is it showing? Is it showing?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so well, my name is Jorge Espinosa. I'm part of the Yasunidos group. We are a citizens collective that started in 2013, pursuing a referendum to prevent oil extraction from the rainforest, Amazonian rainforest, in the national Yasuní Park, the most biodiverse place on Earth, and home to isolated communities that are completely linked to the health of this environment. So I'm going to speak right now on against the extinction of democracy. And first, I want to start by suggesting that we should ask ourselves the right questions. And this is a very important matter, because all of this time we're trying to solve this issue of democracy and how can we solve all of these questions that all of these panelists right now are trying to answer. How to prevent oil extraction, how to increase participatory democracy, but we really need to start reformulating how can we actually achieve all of this. So how does a referendum works here in Ecuador? The first thing you have to do is you have to submit to the Constitutional Court a question for the referendum. Once the Constitutional Court approves the question in 30 days, it gives this information to the National Election Committee, and then the National Committee has approximately 45 days to give to the society, in this case, Yasunidos. It has to give the forms where we have to submit all of the signatures. And then the signature collection starts. That it is a period of 6 months where you have to collect person per person on the street, on schools, on universities, on your house, all of these signatures, so people can say to state, I want to vote on oil extraction. I want to vote to prevent oil extraction from this most biodiverse place on Earth. And then after these 6 months of signature collection, we pass to the signature verification. And then all of this, after this signature verification that takes around 45 days, that is taken by state, then finally we go to the referendum. So in practice, if we see this scheme, it's not supposed to be so long. As we see this, it's in a year you can complete this. But I'm going to show you all of what has happened during these 7 years and how we haven't reached still the referendum. So during the signature collection, we were victims of many different obstacles presented by state, such as media attack. This was taken from one of the state media, suggesting that we were aggressive. So it was part of this strategy to make us look like evil citizens. At the same time, state invested public fund to research on us, to really research who we were, where we work, how the collection signature worked. They started like following us to our houses. They even put infiltrated people inside the signature collection groups so they can find out what was happening inside the Yasunidos group. And this was only during the signature collection, right? And then while we were collecting the signatures, and while the state started realizing that we were having success, they started putting different norms, different shenanigans, so we cannot pursue these signature collections, such as they started putting norm on what type of paper the size of paper, the color of the pen that you use to sign the document. In this image, for example, on the left side, we can see one of the form we started distributing through one of the local newspaper. After seeing this very smart strategy, so more people can collect signatures, immediately the National Election Committee was like, you cannot do that. Like trying to avoid, literally trying to avoid participatory democracy. Instead of stimulating participatory democracy, state all of this time has pursued a race to stop this from happening. So after all of these obstacles that was presented against us, we were able to collect more than 700,000 signatures, as you can see on the screen. And we were able to give it to them, to the state. You can see it in this image on the upper side. You can see the date. It was April 2014 when we finally were able to give all of these 755,000 signatures to the state so they can go into the verification step. And from this moment, all of the obstacles that we thought we have surpassed started even growing exponentially. You can see on the lower part of the image that they took the boxes, they opened the boxes, they took it on another place by force. It was a very violent moment from state. Once during the signature verification, this is inside where this huge hangar where they started verifying the signatures. We weren't allowed to be more than 6 of us inside this place. And literally, and now we know this because of an investigation that was made by a research team here in Ecuador, Manolo Sarmiento. We now know that these people that were working on reviewing the signatures were set by the National Election Committee to do not pass signatures, to eliminate signatures as much as possible. That's how it worked. And all of these people that were supposed to be experts were actually friends from the people working inside the National Election Committee, ex-police members that were really pursuing orders from state to prevent this national referendum to happen, because there are a lot of money interests, as you know, oil. It was so absurd, the amount of obstacles, and so absurd how they literally wanted to prevent this, that they eliminated our own signatures. They said that our own signatures were not valid. These signatures that you see here on the screen are from members from our own collective. And according to state, they weren't real signatures, so they didn't pass. That's absurd. That's how the state works. And that's how really representative democracy works. After this happened, 5 years later, the public defendant publicly apologized, not only to us, but a lot of other collectives, because they didn't do anything when our participatory rights were violated. And with the fifth power that was recently created, the power of social participatory democracy power, they asked the National Election Committee to pursue this referendum so our rights can be amended. And they also asked the National Constitutional Court to pass the referendum, to pass the question, because it was pretty obvious that we had collected the signatures. All of this was done by research inside the National Election Committee, different groups, universities, and they all concluded the same. We had collected enough signatures so we can pass to the referendum. And after all of this, we thought, this was 5 years later, it was the end of 2018. And we thought, we made it. We finally made it. We are gonna reach this referendum. And then when it passed to the National Committee election, they said we cannot pursue this referendum because the only person that can formally ask was Julio Cesar Trujillo. That was our official lawyer, but he recently died. So we couldn't, according to the national community election, we couldn't ask for this for the referendum to be passed again because our lawyer had recently died. That's how absurd. That's all of these shenanigans that we have been working against. So after all of this, after all of this research was made that I just show you how the system literally was trying to eliminate as many signatures, we put a denuncia, we put a state on the public law, so they can, because this is against law. People cannot, state cannot prevent citizens to vote, and that is against the law. So we put this denuncia on the public courts, where public courts are researching on it, using this investigation as part of the documentation, and the court is still working on our case. So this scheme that I show you at first, how it's supposed to be very easy, or at least it's supposed to be a straight line so we can reach the referendum. It has passed 7 years and we still haven't reached this referendum. This is how sad, this is heartbreaking for democracy. So that's why I started asking this question. We need to ask ourselves the right question. So first of all, who does representative democracy really serve? Democracy, as it has been structured since ancient times, it only works for the elites. As Noam Chomsky says, the masters of mankind created this system so they can literally be the last ones to be deciding on what happens. And this is literally what has happened here in Ecuador with this referendum. Because after 7 years, we haven't gone any more far, and we're still waiting for this to happen.
Jorge, tenemos que cerrar tu presentación. Llega a la final. Gracias.
Yes, this is the last part. The second conclusion is that social movements need to stop pursuing state power, because once you enter state power, you become the host of this system that only seeks to keep reproducing itself, and it doesn't seek to make democracy more participatory. Hence, the political system is obsolete. It is not working. Democracy, as it is not working. So we need to start bypassing the system. We know at this point that by different technologies like crowdfunding and blockchain, we are going sooner than later to eliminate banks and hopefully central state, because these entities are corrupt, bureaucratic, and very centralist. And all of this, the only outcome is that people actually do not control the national agenda. Only few people do. Thank you.